welcome to the party, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with another build along video here, and today we're going to be building a little shrine for the jungle pylon. I thought it'd be kind of cool with 1.4 out that we might do a little build for pylons because I think they're super cool and pretty handy. So as always, the materials that you need to build along with us today we run across the bottom of your screen, and they're also in the description below if you miss them the first time. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. So we're building in the jungle today, and I've got a little space here cleared out for us to do this build. It's not too big. I think it's about 12 or 13 blocks high, about 9 wide, so not super big. But we're going to start with, I think, our yellow paint and our pink brick to start us off. So this little line right here, this little tiny block that's poking out, that's going to be our center line for this build. Well, let's see here. So we're going to start one there, and then we're going to do 2 on each side of that for a total of 5. I should probably turn my paint sprayer on so I don't have to go back through and do it manually each time. Nah, that's okay. All right, so I think we'll actually do a second layer of that as well, just because I think it's a good looking texture, and we want to build up a little bit of this foundation. So that looks good to me. Maybe instead of that, let's do this one in the ground. It gives a little bit more of a firm footing kind of look. Alright, so we got our pink dungeon brick, painted yellow, put down there. And around that, I want to take a little bit of stone slab. Now, stone, being the gray that it is, doesn't paint very well unless you use deep paint, so we're going to switch over to our deep yellow there. And we're going to put just a little column on each side there, so just 2 of those bricks, and you can see it's just a little bit darker than the pink dungeon brick when it's painted, so that looks good to me. It gives a little bit of a rounded sort of shading effect. Now I want to kind of accentuate that even more, so we're going to take regular old sandstone. We're going to do 1 more column on the outside. We're doing this in the deep yellow. And then we're going to go ahead and actuate these. I like using the deep paint on actuated blocks to preserve a little bit of that like hue and saturation there that you wouldn't necessarily get with the regular old paint. That looks good to me. Go ahead and pop these off here before I forget, as I often do. That's a decent little sort of rounded look. Not perfect, doesn't have to be. You can change it up all you want. Maybe hammer those up, give us a little stairway to get up there, I think. That looks pretty good for a foundation, if you ask me. So let's go ahead and move on to sort of the actual shrine area. So turn our paint sprayer off, and let's go ahead and put this pylon right there in the middle. Looking good, looking good. All right, so what I want to do, maybe we don't want these hammered. Let's go ahead and do a little bit more of a gradient here. So let's grab our stone slab again. I'm actually going to do 1 on the outside of what we've got so far. Maybe that's the look we're looking for, because I want a little bit of room on the outside of the pylon to do a little bit of tinkering to make it look cool. I want to put some pebbles up here and sort of give it a very natural feel. So that stone slab looks good to me. Good enough. Blends in with the ground pretty well. I like it. We might come back through and paint those a different color. But for now, I want to switch over to my gray paint. We're going to use our living mahogany wand, and I'm just going to tack 3 little blocks of living mahogany painted gray on top of those 3 blocks on either side of the pylon there. And here's where you get to be a little bit creative, and you can start hammering these into some sort of rocky shapes. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I think that looks pretty good. We're not zoomed in again. What am I doing? Alright, so we got a couple of little rocks there, and I'd like to kind of keep this grassy look, flowery look that we get with the jungle pylon going along behind this. So what do we have to use? Lots of fences in this build, but I think we're going to go with our stalactite stone wall. And because this really should be in the background, I'm going to go ahead and paint it, I think, deep green is going to be our winner there. Now, don't overdo this. You don't want to be too crazy with it. As you can see, it can kind of get a little wild pretty fast, so yeah, just toss a couple of them in there. You don't have to get it perfect. Something like that's fine. And I'm not actually sure I like the green on there. Maybe we'll go with a deep lime. You can always switch this up, do whatever you like. That's the whole point of these. There you go. Yeah, sure. I think I like that a little bit better. Okay, so we got a little bit of foliage around here, so I think I want to start putting some structure into this and start building this thing up. So let's grab our Boreal wood fence, and we're going to set our deep orange paint to be active here. And we're going to go from the 2 blocks that are just on the outside of this pylon, but a little bit behind it. So I'm going to start there. It's just over the grassy bits, if you can get an easy way to do that. We're going to bring these 2 fence poles up a little ways here. A little bit more than that. I want to give a little bit of like headroom, I guess. But we don't want it to go too crazy. I'll just put them there for now, and then we can always change that later. Now, here's a little fun effect that I found while I was tinkering around the other day. So if you take your deep lime paint and some of the iron fence. Now, we are going to use both types of fence here, iron and lead, so you can't actually do this in a world, but if you jump out to a different world and grab it, should be okay. So yeah, we've got our iron fence, deep lime paint. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in the middle column, and I'm going to do this up until I can just see 1 block above it there. And once you've got that, we're going to go ahead and do the edges, and we're going to leave each of the edges 1 block short, just like that. So we get sort of this greenish glow around it, and to sort of accentuate that, we can then take our lead fence, and this one, I think we'll do this in deep lime as well. We're just going to go ahead and bring that right up to the top of the Boreal fence, and it gives this cool little like lighting effect here, like the crystal is lighting up that fencing behind it. I really like that. Looks really cool. Okay, let's go ahead and let's switch back to our deep orange paint. We're going to grab our palmwood fence, and we're going to run a couple little pillars of this stuff just up next to the fencing that we have here. I'm just trying to build up a little bit of an aesthetic, I guess. So that looks pretty good to me, and I think I'm actually going to hammer out those walls there that are built in from the natural one, just because they sort of looked goofy with the palmwood fence next to them. And I think with these ones, rather than painting them deep orange, I think on those I'm actually just going to use the regular orange paint, and you can see that's going to lighten it up a little bit and sort of turn it more into like a brownish tan color. And I think that looks good because it sort of gives the indication that these are closer to the foreground than these ones are, and I think that looks pretty cool. It's almost like a rounded room kind of look, and that looks sweet by me. So let's go ahead and should we put a roof on this? Nah, let's get some vines in here. So a trick that I've been in absolute love with is this little Dynasty platform trick. I'm going to use green paint on it this time, but we're going to take our Dynasty platforms and we're just going to toss these right up here, right along this palmwood fence. And I think I'm going to leave it there for now. So it looks like I can fit 5 on either side on mine. Again, build these things however big you want, however whatever shape you want. This is just meant to be a little bit of a template. But once you've got those in there, what we want to do is start hammering these. And it takes a second to find the right combination. I think it's this way. So on the right side, it's 2 clicks. And then I think on the left, it's just going to be the 1. Yeah. Okay. I think that's right. We'll know here in just a second. I'm going to turn my paint sprayer off to conserve a bit of paint here while we take our echo blocks. And again, this is another one that I've done quite a bit here. And we're just going to go ahead and bring these right up along these platforms. And you can see that fills them out and turns them into these really cool vines. And I think I actually I replaced one of my little pebbles down here. So let's fix that. There we go. All right. That's fine by me. Let's get a little hammer action on these. Yeah, sure. That looks good to me. So the green looks pretty good there. I might switch that into deep green. It kind of just depends on what aesthetic you're going for. So totally up to you. Yeah, I like the deep green better in this case, though. Okay, so that looks good to me. We might put another layer of vines up there. I'm not too sure yet. But what I want to do now is go ahead and start putting a little roof on this thing. So I'm going to use Let's try it in lime. I think it's lime, yeah. Let's try it in lime, and I'm going to go up to the second lead fence. That's going to give 2 little horizontal bars of space above the pylon here. And I'm just going to toss a few... Yeah, I think 3 Meteorite Brick painted lime is about right. Now we're pretty much going to actuate this whole whole row of platforms. Can't talk today. So we're going to actuate this whole thing, so we'll do that at the end. But next I want to grab our deep lime paint and toss down a bit of stone slab on either side. That looks good. You can kind of start to see that rounded effect that we're really going for in this build. And then I think we'll go ahead and use... let's do the pink brick. Let's make use of some of the materials we got here, and we're going to do 1 more on either side of that in the deep green. Now I'm going to go ahead and hammer these guys up to a point just like this. Hammer them however you like. And then I'm just going to run a row of those little actuators around there. Go ahead and actuate these guys back. And it's not too bad, but I think this one here is a little bit too dark, the one on the outside of these. So rather than using the stone, I'm going to use the Sandstone Slab. And I think, again, we're still going to try it in lime, but the sandstone is a little bit brighter. And yeah, you can kind of see that's a better look there. So that looks good to me. And yeah, I think we'll go ahead and start on the next little layer. You guys might have noticed that I tend to build in layers. It just makes sense to me, and I don't know. Maybe it does to you too? I'm not too sure. But let's see. I think I still don't like this transition too much. So let's go ahead and take these out of here. Okay, so we got deep yellow. And let's go with Sandstone Slab is going to be the brightest in deep yellow. And then we could do Stone Slab. And then maybe Sandstone again in the deep green. That looks wild. Let's see what it looks like with actuation. Oh my goodness, that's so funny looking. Let's see. That's a little bit better. Not too sold on the green on the outsides. Switch this to stone. There it is. Yeah, I think this is the look. Okay, so the outer 2 are stone. And then just the ones on the outside of the meteorite are your sandstone. Okay, now I'm happy with that. Let's see. I think what we'll do next is we'll go ahead and we're going to keep this row fairly simple. I think we're going to go with deep yellow again. We're going to start using yellow a lot more at the top of this build. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. So let's go ahead and toss about 5 blocks across there. And I'm just going to hammer these flat because I want to put a background wall behind this to really let that show through rather than the blocks here themselves. Okay, so those were stone slabs. So if we do maybe sandstone slabs on the outside, then we can actuate these, and I think that will give us a little bit of a gradient here. Yeah, it sure does. And really finding these gradients is just a matter of sort of playing around. It's not really any magic trick to it. You just sort of play with actuating blocks and trying deep paint versus not deep paint and finding materials that have the same patterns and merge together the same way, and using that to find whatever gradient you like. So that looks good there. I think we'll go ahead and do a deep green. We'll sort of follow the same pattern that we did on the row below to help ourselves keep a bit of consistency here, just like that. Let's go ahead and actuate those. Lovely. Hammer them flat. Not too shabby. Alright, so I said I wanted to put a background wall here, and I'm not sure I actually grabbed the one that we want. Doesn't look like it. Let's find us a brick wall here, and we'll sort of pick this one on the fly. You can use any of the walls that you like. That Palladium column paints really nicely. It's a very vibrant sort of color, so I think that one looks pretty swell. But I think for this one, what I would like to do, I'm thinking I'm going to use my deep yellow, and we're going to try... What should we do? Ice brick wall? How's that look? Ooh, maybe a little heavy on the yellow. That's not yellow. There we go. Okay, so maybe we'll do... Yeah, I think the base brick here is the one that we want. So let's go ahead, we'll toss just a couple of blocks of that in there. And then maybe we'll... what should we grab? Let's just grab another brick fence, or brick wall here. Red? Sure. Yeah, that looks good to me. So we'll just toss those on the outside there. Yeah, I think that's probably good enough. We could probably toss some deeper yellow paint onto these outer ones, give them a little bit more color. A little bit more of an indication that's in a shadow. That looks alright to me. So next up, we're going to stick with... I think we're going to go back to our yellow paint. And we're going to grab our sandstone slab. And we're going to go ahead and put, I think, probably 5 of these again. More or less follow the same sort of pattern. Go ahead and hammer these back down the way that we like. Perfect. Then we're going to use that same trick. So we're going to switch back to the deep yellow and use stone slab. I don't like that ice brick in there. Let's just get a regular bit of brick in there. I think that looks good. Let's see here. So next up, yeah, got a little distracted, sidetracked there. So we've got our sandstone here in yellow. We've got our stone next to it in the deep yellow, and I think we're going to finish this one off with our sandstone in deep yellow as well. Let's go ahead and get those painted, and then we're going to go ahead and actuate those. Lovely. There we go. Alright, that's not too bad. We'll go ahead and hammer these flat. And we could toss maybe a little fence of some kind back there. How about that? Alright, so we've got our sandstone there, more or less the same thing. And I think I'm going to try something on the fly here. What does this look like painted orange? Pretty cool. Alright, so I'm going to paint that one deep orange there. Because, yeah, looks pretty neat. Let's make a little bit of use of this Palladium column wall here. We are getting very close to the end. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to... Let's try it in the green paint. And if we need to, we'll do deep green. So for this one, I want this wall to actually be behind the row that we just did. So this is going to be one of those half-peaking sort of deals. I think we might extend this up to the next row, but we'll see. Alright, so a little green stripe there looks good. Now, I think I should have everything I need. Yeah, let's make some meteorite platforms. And these I'm going to paint yellow. Yeah, let's go deep yellow. Let's get a bit more color in there. Perfect. So these things, I'm going to go ahead and just more or less draw a line right across there. Looking pretty good to me. Let's actually look at this in yellow, because maybe that does look better. No, I think I do like the deep yellow a little bit better. I'm just doing a little bit of experimenting here with it. On the fly, that looks good. And then I wonder maybe if we should actuate these. How does that look? Ooh, there's the look. There's the look. Alright, so that looks pretty cool there. So I think we could add maybe, I do like to add this little, I don't even know what you call it. It's like a little, maybe like a bracket or something that you could hang it off of, which is basically just 3 stone slabs painted deep orange. You hammer the side 2, and then actuate the side 2 as well. That's what we wanted. You can see, I always forget to remove my actuators. There it is. Yeah, so you hammer all 3 and then actuate the side 2. I remember how I build things. So yeah, maybe we'll toss a little bit of rope up here then. Take a look. Go ahead and knock this background wall out because that looks kind of silly there. Let's find ourselves some, maybe some vine rope. Toss a little bit of lime paint on this. And you can see there's a little bit of a gap. Maybe we'll just take our iron fence and a little bit of the deep lime paint, and we'll just toss a little fence back there to give that some kind of look. I think that's going to wrap it up for us on this one. I like this build a lot, and I think you could probably switch out these materials pretty easily for pretty much any biome you like. You could hang them off of trees. You could build maybe some like a little pyramid with like steps leading up to it or something like that. You can maybe take this design and replicate it side by side and turn it into a bridge or something like that. Do all sorts of stuff with this one, so hopefully you guys can find some fun in it. Hopefully this helped you guys maybe learn a thing or two. And yeah, if you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like on the video. If you have ideas for other things you'd like to see me build, leave that in the comments. And then if you haven't subscribed, do that. What else? I don't know. I think that's about it. Until next time, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see ya.